What's up, everyone? Matt here with another Who Are They Real Review, and today I am joined by none other than the personality himself, Chris Anthony Lopez, to talk to you about the latest film from director John M. Chu, In the Heights.
Whew, man, In the Heights. And first of all, I don't remember the last time we did a review together, Matt. It's been a minute.
This might be the first one, honestly, for a normal real review. Yeah,
we did the Devil All the Time. I remember that.
Oh, yeah, that actually made.
But that was like October or something,
yeah,
right?
that was like October, November. So that may have been the last time.
It's been a minute, but when you had asked me to talk about In the Heights, a movie I've been jonesing to talk about, because I was one of the fortunate few to see this on Mother's Day when they had the Mother's Day screenings, and I've had my mouth shut ever since with some broad conversation about it online. Yeah. But damn, I want to know your thoughts because you just saw this. I want to know. Give me your 2 cents on In the Heights, dude.
Well, first off, I'll just say it up top. I love this movie. I was fortunate enough to have the screener, and right after I finished it, my first time, I hit exit, went back, clicked it again, and it said resume from where the end credits were, or start all over again. I hit start all over again, and when I first saw the trailer for In the Heights, I straight up said, "Oh, Anthony Ramos is winning Best Picture." And that was based off of the trailer, and excuse me, not Best Picture, Best Actor.
Right.
That was based off the trailer, and then it got pushed back, and then Chadwick Boseman died, and I'm like, yeah, I thank my lucky stars that coronavirus pushed this back, because I would be a torn man this past Academy Awards if this had been released this past year. Just the story of. And I guess I'll let you speak on the culture, but it's very similar to Black culture, because you have Abuela who's not really his Abuela, and just the sense of community. And I think that's something you get in both Black and Hispanic cultures.
Yeah, like the whole movie, it does a great job of it's all about embracing who you are and knowing where you're from, and that's a recurring theme throughout the film, regardless of nationality. A lot of these folks are not the same ethnicity. They're under the same banner, under the same blanket, like a Hispanic or a Latino, but they're not. Some of them are Dominican, some of them are Puerto Rican, some of them are Mexican. So it's Cuban, yeah. They're all over the place, and it totally depends on how you want to look at it. But at the same time, it's all the same type of discrimination, all the same type of scrutiny they face as a group, and they touch on some real life conversations, because this is based off of a musical that based off a musical that was based off a book that came out more than a decade ago.
Yeah,
and a lot of those conversations are still being had to this day. And when, similar to you, when this trailer came out, I'm like, oh my God, this movie's gonna be great. This movie's gonna be awesome. And of course, I'm gonna be biased to Anthony Ramos. Like I'm a big fan of his, not only his acting stuff, I think his music's great too. And when
right there with you.
When he was announced to be Usnavi, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense, because he has the ties with Lin Manuel Miranda, who's also in this film.
He wrote the film.
He was part of the making of the film.
Wrote the screenplay, not the film.
Yeah, he's part of the making of the film. But I just want to give a quick shout out to the entire cast. Everybody in this, I thought, and like you, I love this movie. It's, like I said, I've been jonesing to talk about this thing, because it came out, like at least it comes out in a couple days as of this recording. But
in 2 days, because this is going up right away. So this comes out in 2 days. So
right. But this movie does a great job of people, like, it does a great job of displaying that message of be who you are, know where you're from, embrace who you are, and love, community, family, even though they're not blood. Like, and that's just a theme from the source material as well. And they do a great job of translating it to screen.
Yeah. And I do want to give some shout outs, just acting wise, to we already mentioned Anthony Ramos. Corey Hawkins as Benny, Leslie Grace as Nina, Melissa Barrera as Vanessa, Stephanie Beatriz from Brooklyn Nine-Nine fame as Carla, Lin Manuel as Piragua, Jimmy Smits as Kevin Rosario, Dasha Polanco, who we haven't seen much of outside of Orange is the New Black, is Kuka, and you gotta love the little Hamilton reference with Chris Jackson, who played Benny in the original Broadway production.
Yeah,
as Mr. Softy. So
there's some fun cameos and Easter eggs outside of Christopher Jackson, because we saw him in the trailer, so it's not a spoiler. Outside of Lin Manuel and Christopher Jackson, there's some other fun cameos in there. Don't Google the cast list if you want to be surprised in the theater, because they do pop up in the cast list. But yes, and I do want to spotlight specifically Corey Hawkins and Leslie Grace. Because when listening to the musical, I haven't gotten to see In the Heights, but when I think about In the Heights, I think of the relationship between Nina and Benny. Like I love the two of them. Before I saw this, and now watching and having a visual, Leslie Grace and Corey Hawkins, their chemistry just came off the screen, and they stole the movie for me. Every scene they were in, I loved it. And some of my favorite sequences, some of my favorite songs in this are focused around Benny and Nina. And so big shout out to Leslie Grace and to Corey Hawkins. Corey Hawkins, a guy whom I think Hollywood's been sleeping on still.
Yeah,
he really broke out.
He still never got respect after Straight Outta Compton. They gave him that 24 show, which only lasted a season. And it was nice to see him in a semi-large role. For me, it's nice to see Stephanie Beatriz showing her range, especially because most people only know her from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Right.
But I do want to say, I loved Gregory Diaz as Sonny.
Yeah,
96K. I was talking with PJ earlier. I'm like, for the most part, I went into this blind. I only knew the title song because they released a single for that a while ago. So that's the only thing I listened to. You told me yeah, listen to the entire Broadway soundtrack. I'm like, cool. I'm going in blind as all hell because I regretted doing that or not going in blind for Hamilton. So I'm like, you know what? This is my first experience with this show. I'm gonna go in blind. And when you see it on screen, especially that it's this pool scene, and it's stunning. And Gregory does a great job of carrying that sequence, and he's got this really dope rap sequence. And I'm just like, oh hell yeah, this is great.
Yeah, the whole movie has a bunch of great great choreography, and this is all again to the director John M. Chu, which I recently watched his breakout movie, the one he directed, Crazy Rich Asians. I watched that a couple months ago, and I'm like, this movie rules. This movie's so good.
Yeah. You were a little late to pick up, but that wasn't his
extremely
breakout.
Late. Well,
biggest film. His biggest.
Yeah, that was his biggest film, and I'm over here like, oh my god, like this movie, like In the Heights. Now I'm really about to lose my mind, and I'm partial to yes, 96,000 is incredible. The opening sequence is great. There's not a dud in this. There's not a dud. My favorite sequence, one of my favorite songs in this, even before going into the movie, just off the soundtrack, Paciencia y Fe, like that. Oh my god, that song tears me apart. But everybody in this cast is really damn good. It's hard to poke holes in this. If I want to nitpick this movie,
there's not a lot too.
Maybe it's a little too long, maybe it's a little too out there, but at the same time, it's what I wanted. This is what I wanted.
I was about to say, when it comes to movies that are based on Broadway shows, I prefer they're longer because that tells me you're going to be more honest to what the source material is.
Yes,
and that's what I want. Like Phantom of the Opera, it may not be the best movie, but I still love it because it does a very good job of representing the stage show. Same as Rent. It's just one of those things. They're both longer. Les Mis, if you recast Russell Crowe, it could have been salvageable. And you didn't do that live singing, which it seemed like this chose to do at the right moments in songs. Not all the time, but there were certain moments within it that you could tell, okay, that's live, or they just did a hell of a job sound editing it.
Right. And I want to give a quick shout out to her name's Olga Meredes. She's abuela in this movie. And she's another one that absolutely steals every scene she's in because she's so sweet. And she embodies what Abuela Claudia should be in this particular story. But it's hard to poke holes in this. It's not everybody's cup of tea. Let's also put that out there. Matt and I, we like this type of stuff, and it's not for everybody.
Like my brother Cameron, who's refusing to even give this a chance because I don't like musicals. All right,
and that's perfectly fine. So it's it's not for everyone. It is a tad bit on the long side, but at the same time, it is based on a Broadway musical, and those are long as hell.
Yeah, which, by the way, you brought up John M. Chu. I want to bring him up again because this is a guy who's paid his dues in Hollywood and is now probably one of the most sought-after directors there is. Started off with his first feature film really being Step Up to the Streets. Then he had Step Up 3D. Then he had G.I. Joe Retaliation.
Yo, he did. Oh, he did G.I. Joe.
Then he did Gem and the Holograms.
Everybody has a miss.
Finally had something good with Now You See Me Too, followed by Crazy Rich Asians.
Mm-hmm.
And then now we have In the Heights. And he's going to be directing one of my least favorite stage shows ever, Wicked. He's doing the film version of that. And he's still doing both Crazy Rich sequels. So I'm excited.
He's going to be a busy man. Real busy man.
And he's got the Wicked, the show with Warwick Davis. Willow, thank you. I was like, why am I saying? Because I'm stuck on Wicked. Willow. He's got the Willow show he's producing. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. But, Chris, we already talked. If we're going to rate this, it's easily going to be a 5 out of 5 from both of us. In the Heights. Make sure you go see it this upcoming weekend. Chris, everyone knows where they can find us right here on this channel. And you can catch Chris on for Chris's sake. He'll be doing a full-on spoiler breakdown and discussion on this film. So, yeah, make sure to check that out after the fact. Once again, I'm Matt. This was another Who Are They? Real Review. Have a good one.